Good afternoon, Facebook and Instagram family. Happy Wednesday. Today is Work It Out Wednesday, and we are going to work out business strategies on today. I'm excited because the next 3 days we're going to be hitting some specific topics. We're going to go a little bit in depth on them. So I hope you have your notes ready. If you don't, when this loads up, you can go to my YouTube channel, Lady Verne, that's Ladyverne, and catch the replay. Hit the like, subscribe, and the notification button so you can get a rotation of the shows that you can always go back on and refresh yourselves. But I am your host, Lady L, for Business Strategies and Tips. Brought to you by the Magnet Exchange Group, a book club and a social club of like-minded individuals with a powerful magnetic attraction that develops healthy relationships, personal development, sharing wisdom and experiences on generational wealth development and wealth preservation. Also, business strategies that become successful actions with Success Beyond Strategies LLC, helping business owners and entrepreneurs identify their vision, mission, and purpose and turn them into legal, successful, profitable business entities. Let's go in. Let's go in. Yesterday we talked about business strategies as far as becoming a successful business. You need to listen to that over again. I'm even listening to it over again because when you are the speaker or the presenter, trust me, you are also the first partaker of what you are sharing. So you want to be that living example. So I've been going back through it myself and saying, okay, I need to tweak that. I need to tune that up because we all need to do much better or different. We need to get rid of the box. We need to assess ourselves and make sure that we are staying on track. Now, we're going to talk about over the next 3 days the core business level strategies that can emerge from 3 decisions: your cost leadership, your differentiations, which is your products and service strategies, and your niche strategy, focusing on cost leadership, understanding that these are the foundational developments that you need to make to even prepare your business plan. These are steps that helps you to prepare your business plan. So today we're going to tackle cost strategy or cost leadership. Cost strategies is basically built on no frills. It strives towards cutting costs to minimize possible levels of debt and over pricing or over marking, but it provides the customer a good bargain. Yes, it boosts sales, it boosts their savings. In other words, you're looking for a win-win with your cost strategy. In the business strategy of cost leadership, it establishes a competitive advantage by having the lowest cost of operation in the industry. In other words, you want to be the competitive advantage in your industry with your cost, meaning you are getting the most economical prices of goods and services to prepare whatever it is you prepare for your products, or the services that you provide is sitting down and assessing the value of your services and the time that it takes to provide your services. So you're taking into consideration all of your costs to produce the finished product that you sell or market to the general public. So what you want to do in cost leadership, you're looking at the following areas. You're looking at the efficiency in which you run your business. You're looking at the size of your business, whether you're a technical small business, whether you're a mid-sized business, whether you're a large business or corporation. You want to look at the scope and the cumulative experiences of your business. And we're going to tackle these things specifically today. So get ready, because this is Work It Out Wednesday. When you look at your industry, you must do the market research or have a team that does market researching or someone that's just into research and likes to dig deep into your industry and look for the competitive advantage. In other words, Look for what other people in your industry is not doing that you do well, because there is something in you that you do well in your industry that other people don't do. When you find your gift, your talent, and your calling, and you perfect it, you hone it, you develop it, you work it, you bring out the best of it through training, education, whatever you need to do to be the best at what you do, you are positioning yourself to be that competitive advantage in your industry. So that's something that you really want to look at very, very closely. When you look at your industry and you do that market research and you've analyzed that competitive advantage, especially in these challenging times of inflation, if you can be the solution, if you can be the answer to people's problems, if you can be the solution to a global or a nation or a city or whatever the territory you have been given to market and promote your business and move and produce your products, you want to make sure that you are bringing the best value to that client, because again, that client and that customer, when they are satisfied, they will not only continue to keep coming, but they will bring others with them, and that is important. Business efficiency refers to how much a company or organization can produce as it relates to the amount of time, money, and resources needed. In other words, a business's efficiency measures how well it can transform things like material, labor, your capital, investment into your business, your services, your products that you produce, that you're, again, satisfying that client, but you are bringing in the revenue that you are looking for. So this analysis is this strategy is extremely important to make sure that, again, as we talked about yesterday, you're looking at your cost, you understand what your break-even point is so that you can stay in business, but then you also are analyzing so that you know at what season and time you can percentage yourself on your markups to make sure that you are getting maximum revenue. Now, how do you measure company size? That was the next item on our list. You're looking at your sales revenue or the value of what you put out. When you can measure that, when you can put a dollar amount on that, then you're able to measure your company size, whether you are a small business. You may be small in head count, but you may be considered a mid-sized to a large business, depending on the industry that you are servicing, depending on the products and services that you provide. So that's critically important to make that evaluation so that you know exactly what arena you need to be classified in to present to the public. And of course, your profits, your number of employees. You may be single right now in your employee count. Maybe you can add one more person and make sure it's a person that can add to your bottom line as well from a revenue and service perspective. And the more you continue to grow, the more you engage your employees, the more they will say, hey, come and work for my company. I know so many high school students, they battle to get to work at Chick-fil-A because of how they handle their employees. Yes, it's hot out there, but they make certain accommodations to make them as comfortable as possible so that they can serve the customer with a smile. If you are a mid-sized or large company, looking at your market share, looking at what percentage you are putting out the stock in your business that people can purchase to add to your company size. Because when you start doing shares, when you start being a public traded company, now you're looking at the different size that you can be classified in to put out to the general public. The capital employed, how much sweat equity, how much financial equity did you put in your business? If you put in 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, that puts you into a measuring of your company size that values you greatly. Market capitalization. You can be a small company, but because you have a slamming marketing strategy, people will think you are a huge conglomerate. So make sure that you are incorporating, hey, get to these grandkids or these young teenagers these college students that are social media and tech savvy, and let them sit down with you and show you what you can do with what you have available, and get that out there. Begin to take our current generations and generations that's coming up, get them into the business arena. It's okay they're going to college and they have their specialized studies, if they're going for law or medical, we understand that. But for those that have that entrepreneur naturalness to them, get it out there. Put it on the bulletin boards at the colleges, at the high schools, when schools open back up, and incorporate these young people. You want to be around youth because they're strong, their minds are crisp, they see things from a different perspective that, some of us, what we call old heads, may not look at. So when you surround yourself with younger people, that keeps you vibrant, that keeps you alive. It just brings you in a whole nother level of a creative space. Now, when we talk about scaling your business, how do you scale your business? Know your purpose. Why are you in business? Who are you to serve? Why do you want to serve them? And how effectively are you going to serve them so that you can have a successful business? Because remember, our overhead title is How to Develop a Successful Business. And these are some of the steps that you need to take in order to do that. Is scaling your business reliant on creating customer loyalty? I'm here to tell you, I understand there's so many other choices out here, but you want to be that specialized business. You want to be that competitive advantage so much that you create customer loyalty. If customers and clients have been with you for years, don't just, toss them off. Treat them just as if they were a brand new customer. Ask them for referrals. Don't let anybody come into your business that you don't say to them, now that you've experienced my products and services, I'm sure you know at least 5 or 10 people that can really take advantage of what you just experienced, especially if you're in the industry such as health and wellness, where you are actually seeing results from people using your products. If you deal in massage therapies of different kinds, because there's different types of therapies out there, emotional, mental therapies that you do from a holistic perspective. We have an awesome one here in Georgia called the Healing House of Roses with my queen Darlena Rose. I'm here to tell you, you don't leave her establishment without being changed. So let people know, I've got a cousin that can really take advantage of this service. Man, I got some girlfriends, they need to come here. Or I know some guys that need to have a weekend here and just do, guy healing, because men need healing too. Come on now. Develop a business map. In other words, when you sit down with your vision, mission, and purpose, when you sit down with your strategic plan as far as what do you want to do in the first 1 to 3 years, the first 3 to 5, or the 5 to 10, or even the 10 to 20, you want to make sure that you're developing a roadmap that you can follow, making sure that you're staying on course of that roadmap. Some things you may deliver and under promise, so great. And then there's some things, I think we need to stretch this out just a little bit more. Our development is going to take a little more time, because when you really put it out there, again, you want to be that competitive advantage. Perfect your product or service. Even though you're providing a service or a product, don't hesitate to get more educated in it. That's why it's so important to connect to other people in your industry and just get an idea of seeing how they're doing things, or how they're seeing a different way of doing it. Not that you want to be a copycat, but you need to be around that innovation and that creativity atmosphere, so that you can look at your vision, mission, and purpose, your products and service, and say, yeah, I know I do this and this and this with the product, but maybe I can add something else to my product line. Because there's always a need that presents itself, that your product can be a base to produce another product in your line that can address that problem. Create meaningful, thoughtful processes and operations. Again, back to creativity. Your thought processes and operations. Make sure that you are touching base with the people that are boots on the ground. They will give you the feedback of what's coming back from your clients and customers to say, I know this is how you're used to doing it, but maybe we need to consider doing this another way. That is one of the beauties of even a franchise. They've tested, they've proven, they've done the research, they've put it out in the market. Their marketing and research teams, they come together and they do different surveys and researches so that they can bring back to the franchise, okay, when you see certain changes that's happening, it's because they're looking at trends. You need to analyze the trends of your industry to make sure that you're staying up and being relevant at all times. Establishing a team is so critically important. Don't be limited by your current resources. Put a plan, put a strategic plan in place. What does your team look like? Okay, you may be starting out with 1 or 2 people. You may be starting out with 3 to 5 people. But what does your growth team look like? If you're looking to expand your current location, how many more team members do you need to add on? Sit down with your current team members, get some feedback to see, well, what type of person do you think would be a good fit to be here to do certain things that you want to get done? And then consider any referrals that they may have of people they may know, or then you'll be able to put out that description out there, whether it's on Indeed or any of the or Beyond, whatever the other platforms that are out there, so that you are getting and building the right team. People come and go for various reasons, but you want to make sure that you are developing a infrastructure in your team building that people will want to stay. Again, we're talking about our costs, so making sure that you may not be able to give all of the standard benefits, but there's some perk that you can give that will cause them to consider, especially when you're looking at an age demographic. What is the perk that a millennial would stay on a job even though it may have some challenges to it? Because, you know, they're challenged with that stick-to-itiveness that some of us and the other generations have that this current generation does not have. So getting feedback from your team is critically important to maintain team retention. Learn when to delegate. Delegate, delegate, delegate. Even if it's just one person, find one other person that you can bring in on your team. If you have a team of people, look at the qualities. I'm a firm believer in the DISC system of assessing personalities. Assess the personalities and make sure that you are putting your people in the proper place. Your high I people, you want to make sure that they're your greeters. Welcome to whatever your business is, and you know, because they'll bring the person in, they'll bring the person that will draw them into the different products and services that you have. If you've got a dull Nancy who's just playing on her phone and don't know how to bring up, she's not the one that needs to be, or he's not the one to be out on the front line. Hello, welcome to whatever. No, take them off the front line, put them in where, find their niche through their gift. I like that. I'm going to write that down myself. Find your employees' gift and put them in their niche, okay? Build your brand. That goes back to your marketing strategy, making sure when you, it's interesting. I tell you, every time I go to my classes, I don't connect with what they're doing in my class until I get in my session here, and I'm saying, I just heard that this morning in my own class. Whatever you do is your brand. You know, if you bake cookies well, that's your brand. Work it. We're talking about Work It Out Wednesday. Whatever you do well, your gift, your talent, your calling is something that you do effortlessly. You were born to do it. You do it without blinking. You do it without formal training. But when you get formal training, you get more expert at it. I'm here to tell you, when you work that thing, that is your brand. Put it out there. Get on social media. Do you know there are women older than me, men older than me, They love to cook. So every day they just go on and just show what they're cooking for dinner that night. And they are blowing social media up. There are no excuses in the business strategies and tips with Lady L arena. There's no excuses in business. There's only challenges that need a solution, and you are in business to solve a problem. When you solve a problem, you can become wealthy, because then you can charge to whatever level and degree you have put in the sweat equity to be able to charge. Connect, connect, connect is basically how you're scaling your business. Connecting with your environment, connecting with your territory, connecting through your team, connecting through your clients, connecting through your brand. Scaling your business is about connectivity, and we just discussed the areas that you need to connect. Scope and cumulative experience. In other words, to reiterate, all that simply means is engagement, retention, and monitoring turnover. Need I say more? Review your business activity, see what you've done. Is it what you wanted to do? If not, how can you do it differently so that you can reach your ultimate business goals in developing a successful business? Stay focused. Eliminate the distractions. We talked about that this morning in my class. It's like, okay, and we talked about it yesterday. Find one thing to do today. Get it done. Don't do 5 and 6 and 7 things. You're not going to do them well. It's not going to turn out nice. It's not going to turn out pretty. But if you take that one major task, get it done, and you had that woosah moment, yeah, I did that, and then look at one more thing. And distractions, hey, let the phone go on voicemail. We still got voicemail on these phones. Let it go to voicemail. Swipe right, swipe left, whatever way you swipe to shut it down, and get it done. This is Work It Out Wednesday, so get it done before you move on to the next task. That will help you produce efficiency, which will also help you analyze your profit margin and where you can make improvements in it. Look at the competition. Can you take some ideas from them? I don't say copycat, but again, it's opening yourself up to creativity and innovation and the things that will cause you to think bigger and better in your business. Keep an eye on wider trends. Do you need to adapt, or is it just a passing fad that, again, you can take your business and have that competitive advantage because you are unique in what you do? Think of some businesses that when you look at their logo, that's what they do. They do chicken well, or they bake well, or whatever their main slogan. They produce that footwear. You know they do that one thing and they do it well, and they make it in different shapes, sizes, colors, designs, whatever. Be creative with your business. With that being said, thank you for joining me today for Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L. Don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. That's Lady Verne, LadyVerne. And we will tackle differentiation strategies on tomorrow. So stay tuned, same time, same channel. And thank you for joining me today. Have a Work It Out Wednesday. Bye-bye for now.